My name is Clarence Korker, better known as Korky, K-O-R-K-Y, that's why I spell that. In 1942, I went up to the Navy recruiting office and tried to join the Navy. I was 17. Neither one of my parents, my mother and father, were separated, but neither one of my parents would sign for me. So I had to go back and tell them that my parents wouldn't sign for me. They said, well, okay, but we'll just keep you on the records anyway. So in the first part of 43, just before my birthday, I was called to duty. And they took me at 17, really, and I wasn't 18 yet when they took me. So they took me anyway. The boot camp was in Sampson, New York, naval base up there. It was a huge thing. And I thought I was in the Army. They gave us a rifle and taught us how to march. But we got through it. And I don't know whether I had gone back to boot camp and then shipped to Brooklyn, New York, to the U.S. Navy Armed Guard Center in Brooklyn, New York. They were setting up these gun crews, and they had about 28 people on a gun crew. I had no idea what the U.S. Navy Armed Guard was when I arrived there. I had never heard of it before. The Armed Guard was brought into existence. It was there in World War I for a little while, but it was brought into existence back in 41 when the Germans were torpedoing ships right off New York City all the way down the coast, right down here to Florida and North Carolina.
We want those cargoes protected.
And the Merchant Marine had no protection whatsoever. We were supposed to be gunners on merchant ships, and we had never got to send, our group never got to go to gunnery school because they need to fill these ships up with gunners. And you were going to learn about the guns when you were on the ship in a convoy. I was ready to get on this gun crew and go out, and I had some pain in my, I think it was my left arm, right in my armpit socket. One of the fellows that was with me, he looked at it and he said, "That doesn't look good." He says, oh, he went down and he called the sick bay and got somebody to come up and look at it. So the doctor says, "You got blood poison in there." So they had to operate on the thing. And after a week, he says, "Well, you got to have light duty. No hard work or anything." So he finally decided, or somebody decided, well, we put him in the officer's wardroom as a waiter. And I was up there, I don't know, maybe a couple of months or so like that, and I heard the captain and the executive officer speaking. And they said, "We're going to have to put a photo lab in this base." And I says to myself, I says, boy, that's right up my alley, because I did photography before I got in the service. We got through dinner, and I says to the captain, "Sir, may I have permission to speak to you?" He said, "Sure." And I told him I heard that they were going to put a dark room or photo lab on the base. And I says, "I can take care of that." He says, "You can?" I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Can you design a dark room?" I said, "Yes, sir." I never designed a dark room before. I'd seen them, so I designed the dark room, and they okayed everything on it. And I got the space, and I ordered all the equipment to go in there. So I really had a free hand in this thing, and I got my photographer's rate, and I stayed there until the end of the war. And we started a newspaper called The Pointer. Started a little pamphlet, and it came out every 2 weeks. So that's when we got all of our other equipment in, all the bigger processors and dryers and washers and tanks and all things of this nature. and we took in speed graphics. We also had Kodak Mentalist cameras. We had to go to every event, every basketball game, every running game, every swimming game, everything that went on in recreation. If we had a dance over in one of the big hotels in Manhattan, we had to go over there and photograph that. We had to photograph all the inspections with the fellas getting their medals. And then what we had to do is take that and get it out with a picture of the captain putting the medal on the guy or shaking his hand or something. And we had to make up those prints and then send them out to his hometown newspaper. So it was a publicity type of thing. We went to parades and photographed that. We went to bond rallies and we photographed bond rallies, and they just sent us all over. We were busy. So I had an awful lot of celebrities that I photographed. I must have had a real good job because I was assigned to Admiral Nimitz at the end of the war when he came to New York to photograph him. And I was very proud of that, and I happened to be over there, and I did Eisenhower too. I photographed him and Mayor LaGuardia. And then in October of 1945, we had the carrier FDR, which was being commissioned. And I was assigned to Harry Truman for that day. And I photographed Harry coming on board, speaking, and all of this sort of stuff. So I just felt that I really did my job, and I did what I was supposed to do, and I got my job done. So I got discharged, in the end of December 1945. I feel that every veteran that's been in the service, right now, they all are volunteers. They have joined. They were not drafted. We had drafts in World War II, So they had to go. But they're out there putting themselves on the front line to serve this country. And I am 100% behind any veterans that are going out there to do it. I just feel that sometimes the veterans don't get enough service that this country should give them. To me, I am 110% behind any veteran that goes out there today, and I am proud of them to do the job that they did.